What's going on, everybody? It's Davey from the 80s, and you are now entering the Cinema Chop Shop, so park your ass right there. And while you're there, don't forget to hit the like, the share, the subscribe button. Also, if you check the link below, you see a Patreon account. If you click, you become a member. All you got to do is try recommend movies and music and trailers for me to react to, so click the link. Now, with that being said, we are here today with a review for Hellraiser, the 2022 reboot of the film franchise. This is a Hulu exclusive, and you know me, I was kind of worried about this going to Hulu, but then I thought, well, maybe Prey was pretty damn good. So if Prey was pretty damn good, maybe this movie has some hope. This movie is directed by none other than David Bruckner, who also did The Night House, which is a movie that I enjoyed. So I thought, you know what, maybe this movie might, be kind of good. I like The Night House. The Night House was a fun movie. So I was like, okay, let's see what they can do with this franchise. This movie is also starring Odessa Azayan, Jamie Clayton, Brandon Flynn, Goran Vishnik, Drew Starkey, and many, many more nobodies that nobody's ever heard of. Like, looking at the resume of some of these people, you would really understand that they have absolutely nothing behind them. And that's not a bad thing. That's really not a bad thing, because I've seen plenty of movies where I didn't know most of the cast, and I was like, yo, that shit was pretty good. Example, Prey. I didn't know most of the cast in Prey, but they did a really damn good job, and I enjoyed that movie. All right, so the premise of the movie, which was officially released by the film, so it's not like I'm making sure that I'm not spoiling absolutely nothing in here. Nothing is being spoiled. This is everything that I mentioned right now is public knowledge. Okay, so the premise of the movie is a young woman struggling with an addiction comes into a possession of an ancient puzzle box, unaware that its purpose is to summon the Cenobites, a group of sadistic supernatural beings from another dimension. That's all I'm going to mention from the premises of the official movie, right? Like, the movie put that out. The studio put that out. So don't make it seem like I'm spoiling anything. Now let's get into the nitty gritty. This movie. Now let me give you a little backstory real quick. Honestly, I'm a real Hellraiser fan. So don't know, like, nobody coming here telling me, oh, you ain't a real fan of the franchise. I done watched all these damn movies from 1 all the way to freaking Judgment or Revelation, whatever was the last one that came out. The one where the director was playing the auditor. But anyway, I am a legit fucking fan of the franchise. Like, and I'm not going to be biased about any of this shit, because like I said, I watch the franchise. I love Hellraiser, and I try to point out the good in everything, okay? So don't think I'm just like picking on this movie or anything like that. I'm just being honest. I'm telling you the truth, because this is why you came here. This movie, the opening sequence of this movie is freaking, it gets you. It really does get you. And we end up finding ourselves on a journey with a bunch of characters. And I'm wondering to myself, how are they going to make this interesting? Like I said earlier, it's the young girl battling with drug addiction. That's a very freaking cliche thing to do, And when I saw it, I was just like, damn, like, are they really going to go this atypical basic bitch route? Like telling this basic ass story, like, and I'm just wondering, thinking to myself, like, okay, whatever. Like, maybe this drug addiction will add something to her character. Maybe there'll be some sort of, like, reasoning behind them mentioning that she's a drug addict, right? And really, by the end of this movie, you feel like there's no real fulfillment in that shit, really. It seems like to serve no purpose other than to explain why her character acts the way that she acts. And it's really, like, stupid to try to give them a way out. It's like they're basically trying to write out a reason for having bad writing. You get what I'm saying? Like, there's tons of ways they could have did this. You didn't really have to go the drug addict route in order to kind of get your point across. And to me, that was just badly done. The beginning of the movie really captivates you. It really sinks you in. It feels like a fucking Hellraiser movie. When I saw the opening sequence and then you see the fucking Hellraiser title, you're just like, damn, dude, this was something. This is it. This is really about to be like what I want. And for those of you coming in here thinking like this is going to be a remake, it is not a remake. It is nothing like the original at all. Like, by far, none. It's nothing like the original. This is a whole new shit. It's his own story. It's just like basically what they've been doing with the franchise, okay? And like I said, I've been wondering what they were going to do with this franchise for a very long time. And I was wondering if they're ever going to drop something that really feels like they give a shit about the franchise. Like, this franchise still matters. And I was really hoping for that with this movie. And I feel like they somewhat got it, but for the most part, they didn't get it, Like, we could follow this main character who's not very, like, interesting. And let's be honest, the actress is bad. and the actors around her are kind of bad, and it just feels really goofy at times. It really feels like when you're watching those 2000s movies and that's like really fucking bad acting, you're just like, damn, like how was I able to watch this at this time? Like it sometimes like the acting is so bad, it kind of makes it like it kind of takes you out of the movie. But being a Hellraiser fan, I stayed with it. You get what I'm saying? So everybody's wondering about how Jamie did as Pinhead. I think the design was cool, which is something that we've been presented with. You know, like it's been all over the magazines. It's been everywhere. It's been in a trailer, all of that, which I really thought maybe since they were riding on Jamie's appearance so much, I thought maybe they should have kept it in the shadows a little bit more. But the appearance and the design of Jamie is cool. The Pinhead is cool. It looks good. Like I like it. I like the fleshy, peely skin shit. I like it. But I don't like Jamie as Pinhead. You know, like that nasally voice. It reminds me of like Frieza from Dragon Ball Z. I feel like she's about to call somebody a monkey. You know what I mean? And like I just really wasn't like digging Jamie as Pinhead. Like, you know, like it's okay. It looks cool, but I just felt like she didn't have that presence that Pinhead has, you know? Like even in the last Hellraiser movie that was released, that dude that played Pinhead did a pretty damn good job. You know, like I think that's like, you know, he tapped into his inner Doug, and that's cool. And I didn't want Jamie to tap into Doug. I wanted her to be her own thing, but honestly, I just didn't like it. I just didn't like the way it sounded. She didn't really command any attention. She didn't really seem like the boss, you know, of the Pinheads, like, or the Cenobites. I'm sorry. Like she just seemed like she could have just blended in with all of them. Like she's only boss by association, not boss by presence, if that makes any sense. The rest of the Cenobite designs, which most of them were revealed already. I mean, you have 3 characters in this movie that for sure they have prosthetics on and they were enhanced with CGI. And then the rest of them are full CGI. Like you can straight up tell, right? There's that. So I'm not really 100% happy about the Cenobites either. Like Chatter looks like a fucking idiot. Like they revealed him too. Chatter, I didn't like his design. I'm just saying, like that's to me, like that 3D look just looks stupid. What else? As far as the goriness of this movie, it's not as gory as I thought it would be. Like I was really hoping that they would just be like balls to the wall gore, and surprisingly, like it wasn't really that gory. There's probably like 2 really cool kills in this movie. One towards the beginning of the movie, one towards the middle. The really good kills, in my opinion. And then you have also like I don't like off-screen deaths. Like I fucking hate off-screen deaths. Like it's really stupid, right? They have those 2. I wasn't really digging that as well either. As far as the actual story goes, let's talk about the puzzle box. Okay, like there's this idea that's been introduced about the puzzle box, which you guys have seen in the trailer. Like the puzzle box apparently takes on many different shapes, as we've seen with you know, like the original movie. Like the original, it went from the actual puzzle box and then it turns into like the Leviathan configuration. So we know that the puzzle box always does take different shapes. Now it's a cool concept in this movie. There's this concept introduced in this movie about the puzzle box. I just feel like the execution was kind of poor with it, right? The idea is cool. I didn't like the execution of it. So that's just me. Like the idea, I'm telling you again, the idea is cool, but the execution was just bad. And that's also with the story as well, too. This story feels like I'm gonna call it a spade a spade. This is a bad story. Like this story is fucking stupid. Like it's dumb. Like I don't want to spoil anything for you. I can't really go into like super emphasis about it, but I'm letting you know off top that this story isn't like some wow me story, right? It's a very, very cliche, atypical, like you just got some fucking college kids to write this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I really felt like if they were going to do this to the franchise, that they should have just went ahead and like revamped it, tried to change it up a little bit, even just try to make the characters interesting. Like it really felt like these characters didn't have anything interesting about them. Like I really didn't give a fuck about none of these characters. Like if all of them died by the end of the movie, I really wouldn't care, you know. And to be honest with you, the third act is bad. I'm gonna just go ahead and say it. The third act is fucking bad. There's like one scene in the third act that's really cool, and it kind of reminds me of how Candyman was. Candyman's third act was terrible. Then you had the one scene with the fucking Tony Todd reveal that was kind of cool, and that's about it. This movie's the same thing. Like, you have a bad third act, and you got one thing in the third act that's kind of cool, but at the same time, you're just like, that's not enough to redeem the fact that this third act was kind of bad. Not even kind of, like, the third act is bad. The movie starts to decline really, really quick. It starts off strong, it starts to dip in the middle, and then it just plummets downhill from there. And I'm sorry to say this because I love this freaking franchise and I love it a lot, but this ain't a good movie, bro. Like, this is not a good movie. I really wish I would have had more fun with it. And it's like, the least you could have did was kill people in the most goriest fashions ever. Every death in that movie should have been just A1 death, like bad deaths. And it's like, we didn't even get that. We just got, like I said, we got like 2 decent deaths, and then there was another one that's off screen. And like, I'm not digging off screen kills. Like, I hate those, you know. Overall, like I said, man, I really wish that this movie would have been like more enjoyable, but I didn't have that much fun with it. Like, I didn't like the Pinhead. I didn't like the story. Like, I didn't like the idea that they went with the story. I'm cool with the idea of the cubes and shit, but that shit the execution was poor. I mean, as far as the 3 prosthetic Cenobites go, their designs are okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're cool, but at the same time, it's not something where I'm like, yo, that's like a dope ass design. Like, I need a figure of that shit. Not really, you know, like it just came off really kind of weird, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know, I wasn't digging it. And somebody else pointed out something in the trailer that that most of the Cenobites are females. And I think they are mostly females, like, well, female-esque characters or whatever. But I mean, that didn't bother me. Like, I don't give a shit about that. All I want to know is when they pull up, are they really gonna make you suffer? Like, that's my biggest thing. Like, the whole idea about the Cenobites is making you suffer. And it just was like, to me, it just didn't do it well, like, at all. And like I said, I didn't like the execution of the cube. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about, especially when you get to like the grand finale of shit. Once you get to like the grand finale of this thing, you're gonna be like, what the fuck? What the fuck did I just watch? You know? And then also, the plot becomes very predictable. Like, they try to get you at one point and they try to reel you in and they try to throw you a curveball. And it's so fucking predictable. Like, you can see that shit coming from a mile away. What the fuck is going to happen? And it's like, I don't like movies that are trying to wind up a curveball, but it's like, you can clearly see them like hand signaling for it. Like, you're basically telling me that you're about to throw me a fucking curveball. And it like I said, when it happens, you're just like, really? Like, it reminds me of Us, right? Like, Us tries to throw you this curveball that's been introduced within the first 5 minutes of the movie. You're just sitting there thinking to yourself, like, I didn't think you were actually going to go that route because it was obviously really too predictable, but you actually went that route. Okay, all right, interesting, right? But again, I digress. I didn't have fun with this movie. I really wanted to. I really wanted to like it. You have no idea how much of a freaking Hellraiser fan I am. Like, I'm a huge Hellraiser fan, like, huge. But this movie just wasn't good, bro. So here on the Cinema Chop Shop, we grade movies in 3 ways. Count them 3 ways. Either you get bodied and sent to the bowels of hell, or I spare your movie and tell you that it was great, it was awesome, go ahead and check it out. Or I'll tell you that it was a big fat meh. I'm going to have to body this fucking movie.
Get what you fucking deserve!
Yeah, you heard it, folks. I'm about to body this fucking movie. I'm sorry. I love Hellraiser. I really think that the franchise needs some respect thrown on it, and I really hope whatever they planning to do on HBO Max is better than this shit. I just didn't like it. It was too fucking predictable. I didn't like none of the actors. Pinhead wasn't menacing. Pinhead didn't have that presence. The fucking third act was trash, and it's just, the list goes on. So that's my review. Let me know if you agree or disagree, whatever the case may be, whenever you see this fucking movie. And you are now exiting the Cinema Chop Shop. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. Until next time, adios.